Hey, been a while. I'm about to do something to old Bruiser. She's not getting paint. This last thing I did and documented, she's running great, running like a champ. I did the throttle body conversion where I put the 454 throttle body on there so she could suck more air, and the injectors in the 454, if you watch the video, they were shit. So I took them out. I put my 350 injectors in the 454 throttle body. A lot of people have asked me about that. Not a lot, like 5 or 6 people messaged me, hey, did you have to tune it or anything like that? I did not have to tune it. Not yet. This is a 1990. These were from 89 to 95 was the throttle body. Then they went to the Vortec. And I have been doing some reading. All of them, the computer's the same. But in the 94, 95 models, apparently the computer has quicker regeneration time. So it can read and do things quicker than these. So and you can just, the plugs and everything's the same. You can get a 94, 95 computer, which I'm going to end up doing from Junkyard. You can find them on eBay. And I'm going to slap her in here. But I haven't had any check engine light. She runs great. I bumped the PSI up to about 15 PSI. 350 injectors in a 454 throttle body, which has the 1 7/8 inch or 2 inch bore. So it can just suck a lot more air in. I'm just doing that in preparation for the head swap, the Vortec head and intake swap and cam. I'm not willing to do that yet. So anyways, I got a little, I wouldn't say I got more horsepower out of this thing, but it's snappier. The throttle response, I don't know. I'm not going to dyno it. She's running on 37s. Fourth gear or third, I got L123 in the Muncie 465. So it's a torquing son of a gun. And I mean, I can run down the highway all day. These are 373 gears on the 14-inch full floating axles. 14 bolt, 10.5 inch full floating axles, which was the first thing I did. Anyways, now we're having a little bit of anti-wrap or axle wrap on this thing. So when I take off in low, it tends, when you take off and your wheels want to go like that, sometimes they don't go like that fast enough, and you get your wrap, a little bit of wrap on your bar, especially if you got lift blocks or any kind of lift. So what happens when you take off, the axle wants to turn this way, and it brings your drive shaft up. And that's why there's a slip yoke. I mean, all of them have a little bit of axle wrap. That's why the yoke that goes into the transmission is a slip yoke. You take the U-joint off over here and you just slip the drive shaft out. So that's why the drive shaft is a slip yoke, because it does have some movement, and as it pulls up, it pulls away from the transmission, so it needs to travel a little bit, but it don't need to travel as much as this does. So when you got something that has a high lift and a lot of torque, you get axle wrap. And so what you want to get, in this sense, it'll be functional. We need what you call them, some people call it anti-wrap bars, some people call them traction bars, and that's when you just have one, but you've seen the bars that come from back here and they go up on the high lifted trucks that you see rolling down the highway that the guys spend all that money on. They put all that fucking lights under there, and oh man, they're cool as fuck. But I'll take any of them off road with this. So these are street queens, and we want to be a road king, a trail king. So I need to do that. I tow a lot. Now there is a few things. I'm not going to get under there to show you anything. As you can see, it's dark, but I do have a picture, and you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you will in the next few videos. So basically, this is a crude rudimentary drawing. This is frame. This is the axle. Looking at it from the side, the wheels here. You've seen these bars that come up. So what you need is we need to make a couple of plates, one right next to the other. And I got some bushings from this guy, and these bushings will go right in between the two plates. And then this bushing will go up here. And look, I'm gonna give a shout out to this dude. He's a dude up in Oklahoma. I got these. I got one over here. Because I'm gonna build this myself as I do everything. But this guy's selling these. They're cool. I think this is a 2-inch maybe, and he has these with the bushing, and there's a Zerk fitting here that you can screw in so you can oil them, which is awesome. And he's doing this competitively. Like, you know, if you go on, you can get these things on Jegs, you can get them on Amazon, you can get them wherever. But this dude, I found him on eBay. He's up there in Oklahoma, and he was selling these for like 14 bucks a piece, or maybe it was a set. I think it was a piece. It was 14 bucks a piece. I paid like 60 bucks for all 4 of these. This guy, I don't know him, but I'm all about supporting local dudes. Twisted Images up there. He's from Oklahoma, just north of us, down here in Texas. It's okay. My son lives in Oklahoma. It's a rumor that Texans hate Oklahoma. And the running joke is, you know why Texas don't float off into the Gulf of Mexico? Because Oklahoma sucks. And that may be true. Anyways, this is what we're building. There's 2 measurements you want to know about. It's not hard if you're somewhat handy. And if you've come across a video like this, then you might be wanting to do something like this on your truck. There's 2 measurements you should know about. First of all, you want to do these bars. I'm going to do them inside to the inside of the shock mount. The further out you put them, the less articulation you can get between your right rear and right rear and left rear tires. You know, you want that solid axle. It's not an independent axle, so you want it to articulate a little bit. So, I mean, there are other things you can use besides these. A lot of guys want to do the Johnny joints or the the ball joints. I don't need that much articulation. I'm never going to rock crawl in this thing. I do pull the travel trailer quite a bit in it, so I need it to be stiffer. I'm not going to go crawling fucking through moon craters and shit. I just need to get up the side of the mountain, things like that. My wife won't even let me get it anywhere too crazy. I might run across some creeks and shit. I've done that, but I'm not going to rock crawl. So I need it more for towing purposes. That's why I didn't do the axle flip when I did the lift. When you do the axle flip, that's better for rock crawling. Not the axle flip, but the shackle flip on the rear axle. I did not do the shackle flip. I have blocks. I do a lot of towing. I want it to be more stable. So back to this drawing. 2 measurements on this drawing. So first thing is this bar here, you want it to be as long as possible. And in my case, it's going to be 63 inches because from the axle, ideally you want this to run where your drive shaft mounts from the differential up to the transmission, or in this case, in my case, it's the transfer case. And that's about 64 inches. I had piped that I'm going to use. It's already 63 inches, so I'm just going to go 63 inches. So you want this mount to be close to the slip yoke. You want this mount to be right above your axle. This is the axle. You want this to be as level as possible. You don't want that bar like this. You want that to be as level as possible, and you want to set this as far in as possible. So when you take off, this axle doesn't want to wrap. This bar mounted to the frame, you want this to be strong as fuck right here so that the axle won't wrap on you, just to keep everything nice. A lot of people just run one of these. You can run one of these near the center of the truck, but you got to run a brace from one piece of frame to the other to mount this to. And I just want 2 because I got 2 pipes. So what happens is we take this, and get these pipes right here, 2 inch, almost 2 inch, 1.75 pipe. Anyways, we're gonna weld this right there. Well, not with that there. You want this accessible. We're gonna center it. We're gonna bevel this out a little bit. Just give it a little saddle for this to sit in. We're gonna weld it up. We're gonna do another one on that end. And then we gotta build those plates right here. And I'll do this tomorrow, and I'll kind of cut the plates out and show you. You gotta cut this plate out. So these are the measurements that are important. This measurement from there to there, you want to be about slip yoke drive shaft. So you want that to be about as long as the drive shaft. And then this one here, you want this angle. You do not want this coming in to this before your leaf spring mount. So you want this to be longer than the leaf spring mount. You want this to be as long as the drive shaft, and you want this distance right here to be at least 1/4 of the diameter of your tire. I'm running 37-inch tires, so we're gonna say this should be about 9 or 10 inches from center of axle to the mount point. 9 or 10 inches, not closer to the axle than your leaf spring shackles, and about as long as the drive shaft, and level as possible. That's the engineering behind this. Tomorrow, I'm going to fabricate some stuff. So I'm going to weld my plates, these plates, this plate, and those brackets. I'm going to cut that out of these pieces. This is quarter inch steel that I got. These were the mounts for the captain's chairs that were in the back seat, and it goes up like that, so that when you get in there, you can tilt the captain's chair forward so that you can get into the third row. My captain's chairs are gone. I got a buddy that had a bench seat in his C10. And I said, bro, that would be cool with bucket seats. And he said, hell yeah. So I hooked him up. I gave him those, and he put them in his C10, and he's happy. Anyways, we're gonna do this tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome. I'll go slow. I'll have lots of pictures. I'll have lots of commentary, and I'll have lots of bullshit anecdotes. Yep, you can do it. It's not that hard. Later.